Jake, if the Browns are going to be as good as they can be, and who knows, is that 7, is that 8, is that 9 wins? I don't know. Who are some players that they're going to need to have big years from?
Yeah, the list is kind of long here, but I tried to write about guys I think are at a crossroads. There's a large contingency of guys here who are at the crossroads for who they're going to be. Like what I look at is the Browns are at the tail end and probably out of the championship window opportunity we saw from 2020 to 2020. You could go to 2023, but it's a little, you can kind of start to bend that a little bit, but it all depends on how you view whether Deshaun Watson was ever going to be the guy again. But nonetheless, they have, because of the Watson trade, a high volume of mid-round picks. And when you have mid-round picks, ultimately those are guys who have talent, but they're flawed. But in the nature of the Browns skipping 3 straight first-round picks and honestly skipping 2 straight second-round picks, they've only had between Mike Hall 2 years ago and then this past year, we know that they were able to take Mason Graham. I haven't seen those rookies play yet. They've only had 1 second-round pick play for them in the last 3 years. So that means you've got a bunch of third, fourth, fifth, and sixth round guys who are on the roster fighting for jobs and have shown some flashes, and they need to prove whether they're going to be inside of what they hope is the next championship window, which is maybe a year to 2 to 3 years away. But those would be the young guys, the foundation guys, maybe in second contract. So like guys that I think have to have great years who are either in the final year of their contract or the all important third year of a rookie contract is really the volume's high. So like Cedric Tillman coming into the third year of his deal is going to have a big role this year if he proves that he can play and stay healthy. He's dealt with concussion issues for 2 straight years, but if he can play like he did when he arrived there with Jameis when they traded away Amari Cooper, that's a real second player to Jerry Jeudy that would be a huge boost to not be having to force a wide receiver selection inside, the next draft or 2. So that's Cedric Tillman is one. Alex Wright and Isaiah McGuire. Wright enters the final year of his rookie deal in the 4th year. McGuire enters the 3rd year. What you would like to do here is between those 2 guys who have had both a lot of time over the last 2 years, Wright 2 years ago, but was hurt last year, and McGuire getting the opportunity because they traded Za'Darius, and Alex Wright got hurt last year. So you really are like, can one of those 2 guys step up and be the solution to a second contract to be the guy opposite Miles? If they don't, that creates another hole in a premium position they would have to fill. So you would love for one of those 2 to be a solution. Kind of, Dave, the same thing's happening at corner. Martin Emerson's in the final year of his rookie deal. Greg Newsome's in the 5th year of his his rookie contract as well, which is amazing to think, but he is in that 5th year. So in the scenario, can one of those 2 prove to be the solution outside, opposite Denzel Ward, who we think might be in line for a 3rd contract, the rare 3rd contract? But anyway, like if you can get one of those 2 to be in a position, Emerson was down last year. I personally think Greg Newsome's a better outside corner than slot corner. So I'm a little more interested in seeing him play outside like he did his rookie year to sort of give you a solution. So those 2 young guys, can one of those 2 prove to be an answer for a second contract as well? And the same sort of thing is happening with DeJuan Jones. Critical year for him coming into his 3rd year. If he proves to be, hey, he plays 17 games, provides steady play at tackle, there might be a chance to have some sort of conversation this offseason about an extension for him if he can prove that health and prove that the body is in a better place, weight-wise, all of that. And then there's some 2 UDFAs that I think have had roles the last 2 years, Ronnie Hickman and Mahmoud Diabate, that have, flashed talent. Hickman's played a pretty decent volume of snaps the last 2 years, but can he be diverse? Can he be a 2-high safety, not just a single high read safety? Can he play some man coverage? Can he go down in the box and play a little bit of that closer to the line of scrimmage stuff? Does he have that versatility? Same with Diabate, who got a chance more last year when Jordan Hicks and JOK both dealt with injuries. He played, he had serious flashes, but it was uneven at the end of the year. So it's like, where does he fit in this year with Jerome Baker and Hicks back healthy and Schlesinger drafted? Is there a role for him? So there's just a bunch of these guys, a high volume of these guys, and that doesn't even include David Njoku, who's entering the final year of his second contract, who they drafted a tight end in the top 70 of the draft. who is like, is there another deal for David, who will just be 29 this year and has some good NFL years in front of him? So what I've tried to express to folks is like, this is a season where the win-loss stuff matters. It always does. But if you can get these guys who are in like the pivotal pendulum swings of their early NFL career to be like guys you need to give a second contract to, those wins would mean so much to the next window when they find that quarterback answer and everything is put out in the open. That's the huge thing. But if you go into the 26 and 27 draft needing another edge, needing another tackle, needing another wide receiver, another corner, that's where it gets harder to fill all of those things on the fly. So you would love to have one of those young edges step up and prove to be a long-term solution. One of the two young corners earn a second contract. Can DeJuan be a tackle that lasts for another 4 or 5 years within your structure? So it's just a lot of crossroad players. I kind of went into much deeper detail in the newsletter write-up, but that's the crossroads I think they're at, where it's like, you know, this year has a chance to be uneven. We all recognize that because of what's going on at quarterback, but there can be some wins that can happen by player development that ultimately really matter for when we think they're going to try to be pushing more of their chips into the middle of the table in the next 3 or 4 years.